Hi, Garima. Good morning. How are you?
Hello, good morning. I'm good. How are you? I'm so sorry as well.
No problem. It happens. Time zone is a challenge, so it's a normal thing. So no worries.
Yeah,
Congratulations on your exam. You passed PMP exam. I'm so happy. So let's talk about your lessons learned. But before, how are you feeling after passing PMP exam?
thank you so much, Amar. The feeling is, of course, great because honestly, I was nervous before giving the exam because I told you over chat as well that I gave myself less time. So because of that, I constantly had this in my mind that I have less time, but I have to clear it. So I was nervous, but as soon as I was able to, clear the exam, I saw that sheet which was given to me by uh, that person in the Pearson view. I was so relieved. I was my first feeling that thank God I was able to and I don't have to do the process again. So that's definitely the top topmost feeling I could, have. And apart from that, now that I reflect upon it's been 4 5 days. So it feels great. It feels proud. I'm happy. I have another certification. Before that, I gave a exam for financial risk management. That was 4 years back. So since the last 4 years, I was wondering that I have to give a new one. I wanted to progress, keep my learning curve going on. But then, my leaders at work directed me towards PMP in December last week. And now that I'm done with it, so I definitely feel great and proud. I'm done with that, and I have my own learnings, and now I look forward to applying them in my work. So it's great.
Amazing, wonderful. So, a very important question aspirants ask, how much time one needs to spend to pass PMP exam?
Yeah, yeah. So like, I won't recommend the time I chose. I won't. But I personally feel that around 30, 40 days, everyone should dedicate consistently. I mean, you should study on an average 2 to 3 hours per day for 30 to 40 days to understand the concepts, go in detail, make sense out of it, have your own structure in your mind, and then go ahead with the exam. So I think that's what I feel should be the prescribed time. But in my personal experience, I was, going to office. I was in the cab on March 14th. And that's when I thought I should give myself a timeline. Only then I'll give the exam. And I didn't do any calculation. I just went in and I did April 7th sounds good. So I'll just go ahead with that. So, but it still worked out. So I'm good. I'm happy. But I think students should give proper time to gain in-depth understanding.
All right. So, when did you complete my course and how much actual time you spent in your preparation?
I joined your course in January. I was in the weekend batch. So I think the course was definitely used when I referred to your notes during my preparation in March. The course, I found PHP very comprehensive. So like it has a lot of different ways, to study. So first of all, I think there are different process groups by which you need to know what all things are there in your knowledge areas. How do they correlate between each other? What fits in which area? That kind of an understanding, and developing your mindset towards the agile and the traditional approach. Thinking which will work better in which scenario. So I think overall it's very comprehensive and detailed. So I mean, the course that I took from it actually helped me make sense out of it because you summarize basis of lesson 1 to lesson 6, and then put the methodologies in every lesson. So I think it was definitely very helpful for me to gain an understanding of what the course of the curriculum is all about, and then of course go deeper with the additional resources we have and the mock exams we have to have an overall and holistic understanding. So course was helpful, but honestly, I did not start studying just after the course. I took your course and then I got laid back because then I had a couple of things in my office. February, I had a lot of weddings to attend, to be honest. So it was all in there. But March, I was like, I don't want to, procrastinate more and, get going. So that's when I picked it up again. And then when I started off to study, I referred your notes. I referred my own notes, which I made from your class, and of course, other additional resources. So it was definitely helpful. Without break, even more helpful, I think, but it was still helpful.
Right, great. And what resources did you use for your preparation?
I started off with the book that you recommended, Rita Malgahi. Then I gave a mock exam basis whatever I read. And then I realized that where, I am lagging, of course, there were concepts I didn't even know because I didn't read the entire book. So I was not able to answer those questions in the mock exam. So, but I knew what particular questions are being asked in the mock exam. So those specific concepts I tried writing down in my register. So like what are the areas I need to focus? That's like one. Two, what basic pointers I should know. So I started doing that kind of analysis for myself when I gave the mock exam, and then I only and only read those concepts from the Rita Mulcahy book. I didn't go through the entire one because it was very extensive. And apart from that, then I used your notes, your PPTs, which you sent across uh, for all the 6 lessons. I used that. I actually used the soft copy version when I was going through the first night. But second, I actually went to the cafe and I took the notes, in the hard copy form because I do like pen paper writing. So I think I primarily used these resources like Rita Mulcahy at the start, but at the end it was just your notes and the PPTs. And then for revision, I had my, basic pointers out of the mock exams that I wrote for myself, and I only went through that. So that was my personal preparation and the material and the resources. Yeah, yeah.
All right, thank you. And
Yeah.
how was your exam experience on the exam day? The questions that you had, were those similar to the practice exam questions or the content that you read? Or what were you feeling during the exam? Like you're going to pass the exam or what?
I think I had 3 different feelings during the exam, which were actually basis those 3 different sections we have in the exam. So in the first one, of course, I was energized and I was, trying to do like, making my best use of time, like, reading all the questions with full concentration and all that stuff. So I was, as a person, I think I'm usually confident, but of course, as I mentioned, I was nervous as well this time. So I was reading through the exams. I was giving the answers. I knew this would be the one basis, a lot of questions I did before. That was one thing good, definitely. I did while preparing. So in some questions, I was very sure. I didn't even look back. I didn't flag them. But few of them, I was actually thinking what could be the answer. So I flagged them and I reviewed them later and then go ahead with whatever the best solution I was feeling. So I think for the first section, I was feeling okay. Second section, especially, was when I actually felt low on confidence. I was feeling that I don't know if I'll be able to pass the exam or not. And, I'm not sure if I'm answering them correctly. I'm not very confident right now. So I just hope it overall goes well. So I think it was pretty shaky in the middle, but somehow I took the entire break after that second section. Like out of 10 minutes, 9 minutes, I just took a break. And when I was back in the third one, then I don't know, something changed. Something definitely changed. I was I don't know, more confident. I was feeling by the end that okay, now I know this will be a pass for sure. So I think it was like a graph feeling, not a constant one, not all linear, but it was good experience. Questions were somewhat, I would say, on similar lines, basis which what I've practiced before. I was expecting these kind of questions, totally scenario based. Putting your mind at how this would be in my current role. I was trying to relate each question with that. So I think the exam pattern, the question and the difficulty level, I was pretty much expecting this only. It wasn't very different to my expectation.
All right. And what was the distribution of questions in terms of project management approaches like waterfall, agile, and hybrid?
Yeah. I think, of course, a majority of the questions were based on agile methodology. But sometimes they mention it explicitly, it's agile. Sometimes they use those words, basis which you know it's agile or it's any other approach, of course, hybrid or waterfall. So again, I would stress enough to do the mock exams before because that way you're able to how you have to apply that mindset during the exam. So basis those keywords, which I of course knew that this means it's agile, this means it's waterfall. I was able to answer questions, but primarily I think a lot of questions were based on agile methodology.
All right. And was there any question where you needed to do some mathematical calculation?
I expected more of these, but it was like I just one or two questions in overall exam. Yeah, so before I began the exam, I actually had the sheet and the marker with me, so I wrote all the formulas I know, but I could only use one or two. Yeah, and I was expecting questions around those CPI, SPI, and all of that concepts that we had, but they weren't used actually. I was expecting more of those questions. So
Right. And were the questions too lengthy, too short, or what was the length of question, average length of question?
I think it was a mix of both. It wasn't like one same pattern. Few were like in detail. But I think I had a lot of questions wherein I had to choose two options. I had to choose three options. So I think in specifically those questions, of course, the length of the question was pretty long. But then there were one-liner questions as well. So that was like super easy, 30 seconds done, 30 seconds next. And feel like I was spending 1 or 2 minutes because it was either lengthy in its overall, wording and stuff, or second, it was tricky because there were, I remember, a few questions I was actually thinking that what will be the right answer, and I wasn't sure of. And I kept thinking because I wanted to do it right. I wanted to, make the best possible choice, I'd say, because it wasn't a complete yes, I knew. So I think it was a mix of both, but on an average, it was not too lengthy, I feel. It was fine. I mean, 1 minute each question is like sufficient overall. Or probably less, but yeah, on an average basis, it's 1 minute.
All right. And were you able to manage time during 3 sessions?
Yeah, I was able to, and I completed my exam 25 minutes earlier. I had 25 more minutes left on the screen, but I was actually in the third one. I was wanting to, just go out as soon as possible. I don't know. I was just feeling that 180 questions overall, I feel are too many to sit in one go.
Hmm.
So, and 4 hours, of course, is like a good amount of time. So by the last section, I was such in that, that I just need to, get this done. So I was very quick that way. And I had 45 minutes, but I was like, no, I don't want to revise. I don't want to review. Just want to go ahead with the next button. So yeah, I think time-wise, it was fine. It's actually 4 hours is like too much of a time. And when I do questions, overall are too much. But I was able to manage. Yeah.
All right. And will you recommend any specific technique to approach a question or how to read the statement? For example, some students, they said we read the last line first. Some said we just quickly reviewed the question first time, then we read it again. So any specific method or technique would you recommend or what you used in your exam?
I used to, of course, start with the first line, read it line by line. But in my exam, I like after practicing mocks as well, I got an idea which are the key words in those question. So of course, there's a lot of extra information as well in questions. So having that understanding that what's the real question, what is it really saying? So I think I used to then use my mouse to have that marked because although I was reading the entire question, but not like using the highlighter, but normal using the mouse because it just grays that part
Hmm.
when you are highlighting it. And then I knew I have to be focused in my answers basis this piece of the question. because even though it's scenario based, so you just somehow tend to get lost. Like, what exactly is the question asking? And in your answers, it's very close as well. So again, you may be answering correctly, but it's not the exact answer to that question. So I think just highlighting that one piece which you understand that this is the question basis which you have to now you will see maybe other information in your question, for example, and then answer. I think it's a good approach, because it just keeps you focused and doesn't deviate your attention while answering the question.
All right. And did you take the exam at home or the at the exam center?
Center.
How was your experience there?
It was wonderful. I mean, Pearson and View were the partners, and the overall the way they organized the exam, the way it was so systematic, and the way they had those headphones for no distraction, and the markers and everything. I think it was really systematic. So overall experience was very seamless. The invigilators that they had, they were very prompt. Overall setup and everything, I think it was great. And I
Or
think definitely center base is way, way better, especially after this experience. Like at home, you have so many distractions, possibility and risks of lights switching off due to, electricity voltage, etc., etc. But at the center, it was so systematic. I think everyone should go ahead with that.
right. You have gone through the entire process, and this question is linked to your statement that you started PMP exam or PMP course is very exhaustive. So, do you think, like, apart from just earning a credential, three-letter credentials, PMP, do you think that PMP really adds value in terms of knowledge and skill set?
Yeah. So I think it definitely does. And why I say so, because I when I was studying for the exam as well, during my prep time, I was able to relate it with my work.
Mhm.
And if I wasn't able to relate it, then it was just theory. So while preparing as well, I was able to relate it because we use such kind of instances day in, day out in our work as well. Even if it's not a project per se, but the kind of, approach we have to follow, kind of pivots we have to make in terms of our own approach. So I think it directly applies and it makes sense in real life as well. And for me, as you and me discussed as well, I think experience came in really handy because I was able to understand the question because I knew these kind of situations have occurred before in some way, shape, or form in my work as well. So that is definitely there. That it's not just theory; you can apply it in your work as well. And secondly, while I was studying, I was able to relate it, but I also knew opportunity areas that I can now implement in my work, which we weren't implementing till before. So when I shared with my leaders at work that I was able to pass PMP exam, I actually mentioned it to them, but I have a few learnings which I want to share with you so that in turn it will help all of us. And those were, and I can actually be specific here because uh, I was wondering this that the way PMP is so structured, is it actually how people are working across industries and the globe in such a structured way? I think I'm not sure. This was my question because everything has its own documentation, everything has its own register, its own charter. So, like, is it really this detailed across the globe, across the industries? I was like, I don't know, because when I work with people at American Express, they don't even have their basic SOPs. So, how would they even have such detailed documents for their teams? So, but I think it's good to have as well. Like it's an investment that you have to do for your business, but it's good because you can refer them basis the need very frequently and provides a very holistic structure to your own functioning. Be it, if you're a leader or if it's for your team in terms of team charter, ground rules. So I think that ways that's one key thing which I think I will also pass it on to my team that we can have better documentation, better, policies in place for our own selves to function. And second, I'm personally into risk management right now. So there's this risk chapter as well. So we do have a guidance basis which we do our risk assessment and stuff. And one thing I've learned is breaking down things even more, going even deeper, detailed, so that it isn't at the surface only. So I think all these kind of learnings, which I now want to pass it on to myself and my team in practicality, that we need to go one level deeper and deeper to understand the root cause and then probably come up with the best solution forward. So yeah.
All right, just to answer your question, like, is it like all the practices and everything
Yeah.
are used worldwide? So PMP exam or PMP presents good practices. It's a collection of tools and techniques and frameworks. And different organizations, they have different context, they have different needs. So they pick and choose. They see, okay, this is relevant to our context, they pick and apply that. Same is the case. Hardly there would be any organization where each and everything is applicable, and you can't do everything, right? Such extensive documentation and everything. So you pick and choose according to your context and apply those practices, and gradually you improve, you build on your previous work. So yes, it's really extensive, but ultimately you will be tailoring this according to your own needs and according to your own context. Yes, that's really
Yeah.
helpful. So, because I asked this question, and probably this is my favorite question, because my understanding is that PMP exam is not just a three-letter word that you add to your resume. It's actually a process where you learn. So, whoever is going to prepare for PMP exam, don't just go for earning this credential. It's very easy. It's simple. Anyone can pass PMP exam, but learning and what Garima is mentioning, applying those practices is the real benefits. All right.
Yeah.
One last question, Garima. If somebody is thinking to prepare for PMP exam, what would you advise?
Yeah. I actually had a couple of people reaching out to me in office now that even I want to do because it provides, I think, good structure to oneself in how we can work better. So I think I would say that uh, understand the overall picture the PMP is trying to communicate. So because there's so much information already in the concept, don't forget that what's the real messaging, how do concepts relate, and how you can connect the dots overall. This kind of understanding, I would really, encourage people to have this mindset while, studying for the exam, because that's when you will actually learn. And I think you also mentioned it's not something you have to memorize. So you don't have to memorize. And how will you not memorize when you only can connect the dots, make sense out of it, have an understanding? So I would probably say that understand the basics of PMP first. Once you have that layout very clear in your head, then go in depth. And of course, parallelly solve mock exams because that will, again provide you an understanding that what is something you are trying to understand naturally, because maybe you are already doing that in your work. Or what is that which you don't know at all, and you have to focus now. So I think the overall lesson or the strategy would be very simple. It's not something different that anyone has to follow, but have the basics very clear in your head, then go in detail and correlate it with your work, with the actual real life scenarios, and parallelly solve the mock exams to know where you are doing good, where you are not doing good. So you have to do a lot of self analyzation and keep doing it all along so that you know your own strength and weakness, and accordingly you can be agile in your approach while working for the PMP exam. So I think that's pretty basic, but yeah, that's what I feel
Mhm.
people should do. And give yourself time. Give yourself time. Give 30, 40 days. Don't be in a rush like me. And prep well for it. Have your notes, because I write a lot, so I used a lot of references from the exam to actually write. This is something we can apply in a process this way while studying. This is something we do scope management for risk assessment of activities. So I actually wrote it down how we can do it better, the scope management. or probably the stakeholder metrics that we have. It was so good, desired level, current level. I mean, who thinks that way? We think that, of course, it's a sub BU level, but that specific stakeholder we know we want to target. So kind of thinking that ways, and then working on the PMP concepts.
All right, great. So you're saying get a high level picture, that PMI mindset, that we call PMIism, like what PMP expects from you, and some basic definitions, basic structure, and then solve mock exams, because mock exam really helps you understand those concepts and how you will be answering question in the exam. And
Yeah, more exams are
most
100%.
most importantly, link whatever you're studying with your own work. And that's what I'm experiencing. Like people who have experience like 10 years, 15 years, they are passing exam like so easily. Like for them, exam is nothing. And when I conduct these lesson learned sessions with them, one thing that I came to know is experience really, really matters. It's really important.
Yes.
If you have PM experience, then this exam is not a challenge. So yes, absolutely. Garima, thank you so much for your time. And once again, congratulations. All the learnings, whatever you have mentioned, would be really helpful for people who would be watching that.
Absolutely, Amar. It was great chatting with you right now and, getting tutored by you previously. I think you have good amount of knowledge of the PMP. You've, of course, it's needless for me to even say that, but that's just, demonstrated overall. And one question before actually we, uh, end the meeting, I would like to know from you that I know you must have passed the exam sometime, some years back is what I'm assuming. So, what were your key learnings, and how you were able to apply the same? Because I've done it pretty recently, so I have loads of thoughts popping in my mind. But someone hearing it out from someone like you who has done it now, and you have such great amount of understanding and knowledge. So I would love to hear from you.
Very good question. So I'll try to answer what I did. So I was working in an organization, very good organization, had all the resources, great people, everything. But when I did PMP, there was no system, there was no process. Things were done like firefighting. So what I did after passing PMP exam, I developed processes. So one of the great things that came out of the PMP was I was able to understand the processes, and I almost developed almost every process. Like I developed issues management system, automated issues management system, like developed an issue log and uh, connected with IT to make a system where anybody can log an issue from anywhere, and that is targeted to the issue owner or respective person. Then it was tracking. So that was the first thing that I did. Second thing I did for monitoring purposes, actually monitoring is my favorite area, project monitoring. So I developed a key performance indicator dashboard, KPI dashboard, that contained around 40 main KPIs. And then out of 40, six mother KPIs. So if you have
Oh,
those six KPIs, then you can, monitor the project, or you can control the entire health of the project. When I was developing KPIs, I was writing earned value formulas, right? And earned value is based on cost system, right? Like planned value. So at that time, I read like there is another concept that is earned schedule, earned value versus
okay.
earned schedule. So I
Oh,
was
okay.
so passionate about that, I created my own formulas.
Wow.
Based on
Amazing.
EVM, I converted them to earned schedule type formulas. Earned schedule has two, three concepts. But then I converted all EVM formulas to earned schedule concept, time-based concept, because that is easier for the management to understand. When I say, for example, when we say, okay, earned value is this and we are behind schedule by $6,000, people say, what do you mean by that? How behind schedule by dollars? Behind schedule should be by time, like behind schedule by 2 days, 5 days, 10 days. What do
Yeah.
you mean by behind schedule by $6,000, $10,000? So then I got the idea, okay, I should convert it into hours-based system. So I got the
Oh,
concept from PMI standards, that is earned schedule. And then I built on that and created almost 10 to 15 similar formulas. And I added
Wow.
those into KPI system. So issues management system, KPI system, I worked a lot in contracts, like how we can improve planning and scheduling by improving our contracts. So added a lot of new clauses in the contracts, like uh, whoever would be the contractor, they should have the right resources, they should use this software, they should develop schedule at this level, they should add this work package. So overall, I worked on processes a lot. So I developed processes. That was the one of the learnings that came out of this PMP. So I think if anyone wants to improve something, first of all, we should streamline processes. And by streamlining,
Yeah.
I mean for streamline, then automate. Automation is the, you can save a lot of time. And then, of course, I worked on one project that was our a kind of root cause analysis to see why our projects are behind schedule and behind are over budget. And we spent almost 3 to 4 months. There was a team of great people. We worked together and we found out like what's happening. So we actually applied Edward Deming's PDCA model. Yeah, so we applied that. And we conducted the root cause analysis, and then we suggested the improvements, got approval from the management. So I was a lot into processes and process investigation, process improvement, making things more efficient. So I'm always up for efficiency. If you ask me just one thing, who am I or what I do at workplace, just looking for efficiency, how we can make things efficient. Simple.
Yeah.
If something is being done in 1 hour, my job is to think how we can do it in 30 minutes or 20 minutes. That's what I
Oh,
did by applying project management concepts and project management principle. So to bring efficiency in the entire PM system, that was one of the benefits after passing PMP exam.
yeah, yeah. It's amazing to know. Amazing. It's so great that you were able to, have efficiency in your processes, get those KPIs and introduce those formulas all by yourself. So this is amazing to know. I mean, that's the actual use of doing PMP, right? Producing these real life efficiencies in place in your work. So I think this is great to know from you, Amar. And even I am thinking on these lines. And in case I want to, get in touch with you with
Sure.
anything, I surely do because that's something I want to do next. I want to apply all of these learnings to my
I have some
work so that,
extreme views about it. Actually, I
okay.
apply those views on myself, not on others. Like if I do same things tomorrow, what I did today or yesterday, I think I'm wasting my time. So I have
Yeah,
to innovate. I have to come up with something new every day. So repetitive work or doing things in a similar fashion, I think it's a waste of time. So one should
yeah,
always look for doing things in a different way, in a better way. So that's where comes the concept of efficiency. Be efficient every single day, be innovative, uh, look for new ways of doing things. So I think that's what, as a humans, our job is. Otherwise, we should be machines. Although these
yeah,
machines have also become intelligent, but as a human, our job
yeah,
is to be intelligent. And what's the use of intelligent? Being intelligent means try to find better ways of doing things. So wherever we are, whatever we are doing, rather than just doing the same thing again and again like a machine, we should try to look for new ways of doing things. We should be innovative and creative. And I think that's what the managers do. That's why people have. Otherwise, we should have all the machines doing everything for us. So yes, that's what I do every day, even in trainings, right? A lot of people are passing exam, going through the courses, but honestly speaking, I'm still not satisfied with the way we conduct training. I want to make it
yeah.
simple, easy, efficient, interactive, engaging.
It's amazing to hear such kind of ideas because I think as humans we sometimes don't even tend to think on those lines and we're just going on with the same thing again and again. But having that mindset and then putting into play and how we can do it better. And I just love your idea of this instructor less training wherein people are self-servicing themselves. and doing the learning themselves, and the facilitator is helping wherever needed. So I think that'll actually equip people that, okay, we know it already, and now you tell me if it's right or wrong. You tell me, Amor, if I'm doing it right or wrong. But I will have that sense of empowerment that whether I am doing it rightly or not. So I think it's an amazing idea. And I mean, I just hope you're able to implement it. I don't know how, but you have a vision, but having those steps in place with the clarity as to how you could achieve it, that will be, of course, the result. And I'd actually be very curious to, attend one of those sessions if you're really able to, make it happen in the next probably months or years. I don't know how much time it will take. So yeah, I love to join. I mean, I remember you actually made us do one game in our January session as well, wherein we were divided in 5, 6 groups. I don't remember it exactly, but there was similar kind of game. I think in the second weekend when I was getting tutored by yourself. So that was definitely, so basically by this medium, we are, using our own brain. We're not just coming in, just, hearing what you're saying. We are, if given a situation, we are trying to apply our brains. What could potentially be a solution? How do we deal with this?
Absolutely.
And I think that's the whole idea. So I think that was successful when you did that demo with us last time. And I think if the whole concept changes to that, that may be a big, big hit. So I wish you best for it. I wish you do this very soon. And I really want to be a part of it in one of your sessions once you do.
Thank you, Garima. Thank you so much. Sure.
Yeah. Awesome. It was amazing chatting with you.
Yeah, likewise, likewise. We will be in touch, and we will be having similar discussions in the future as well. So yes, thank you so much for your time. I'm really happy to talk to you.
Yeah,
All
of
right.
course.
All right. Take care. Bye.
Take care. Bye. Thank you.